in this capacity, but I actually met Mary Ellen many years ago when I first started, maybe, I don't know, 7 years ago or so, when I was responsible for our venture capital fund. And Mary Ellen was working on some projects. We got to work with each other then. And she was always very nice to me, very patient. I was this HEI person coming in, asking a lot of questions. And as always, she was always very gracious. But I want to thank her for her 30 years, or almost 30 years of service. And this is the second time Mary Ellen has announced her retirement. So I'm thinking maybe there's still a small chance that she's going to change her mind. And I was just talking to Dan Ching when I'm really happy Dan Ching came back out of retirement to visit us. And he told me a really interesting fact just now. He said that the day after his retirement, his official retirement, we made the Nextera announcement. So I'm not sure what's going to happen after. We're all going to be waiting and trying to see what's going to happen. I think Mary Ellen, as I have talked with people over my time here, I think Mary Ellen has really been a great role model for many people, especially many women, I think, in the company over her many, many years. And I had a really nice time sitting down with Mary Ellen a couple weeks ago. We went out to lunch, and she's just so rich with wisdom and her stories and her family and her career. And just so inspirational that she's been able to do all these things in her life. And with 5 children, and I have my challenges with 3 children, and I don't know how she did it with 5 children. And you can see she's raised really wonderful, beautiful children. And they're all very, very successful. And at the same time, she went to law school while she was raising 5 children. She has many degrees, I found out, from many prestigious schools as I was looking at her information. Let me see if I can find it here. The London School of Economics and Political Science, Stanford, 2 degrees there, and of course, the Richardson School of Law. And she brought all that wealth of knowledge to our company, and had many, many roles over the years, and met many of you here, and shared time and lives and worked with each other, and many that have already retired. I'm just going to name a few because there were so many and so diverse, but most recently she was our Director of Energy Resource Initiatives, working on the Hawaii Island geothermal RFP, which we all know has been a challenge, but Mary Ellen has seen it through, and it's at a point now where it's close to closure. She was also the Director of Strategic Initiatives. She was a core member of the Renewable Hawaii unregulated subsidiary of Hawaiian Electric Company. She was a project manager for the Waiau CIP transmission line project, and many, many other roles. And I think that's a great example of someone who has gained a lot of experience in different areas and then is able to bring that experience to the many things that she does. And she's also very selfless with volunteering for a lot of different committees and what do we call them? Not boards, but committees and other organizations within our company to help our company run better. And we appreciate that as well. So I think we were saying that it's just like just like a graduation with all the days. And in a way, it really is a graduation, going from one chapter in your life into another exciting chapter. And Mary Ellen has shared that she's now able to, I guess, realize the fruits of all the wonderful things she has done. And she's going to spend time with her family. She just had the wedding, her daughter's wedding, and she has several graduations coming up this year, and they're going to be doing some traveling. And Mary Ellen will be taking care of her husband as well, which I have so much respect for you, and I know that he's a very lucky man to have you by his side. So at this time, I'm going to call up Dan Ching to say a few words.
Woo.
Thanks, Shelley, and it's great to be back as a retiree, seeing all of my friends here. And I was just thinking, Shelley, do you realize that Mary Ellen is the third director under your short tenure that has retired? I was the second, and Art Secchi was the first.
I have my quota for the year.
Well, anyway, I'm very pleased to be able to participate in this happy occasion. So, many of you know that Mary Ellen's career at Hawaiian Electric has been in two parts, and she rejoined the company in 1995, and I had the pleasure of bringing her back into the company. At that time, I had an unexpected vacancy in my area, the Power Purchase Division, due to someone who had decided to leave on short notice. And so, I was thinking who that I could bring into the group. And at that time, Mary Ellen had just finished law school. She was working at a prestigious law firm in a very nice downtown building, as I recall. And, so I figured, well, okay, well, why not make an offer anyway? I didn't have much to offer. We were in the windowless semi-basement of the Waiau administration building. So, it was kind of hard to put up with, compare that with the very nice offices that Mary Ellen had. But I did my best, and I prevailed, I guess. And Mary Ellen accepted the position. She came back to Hawaiian Electric in November of 1995. And she came back and hit the ground running. I remember the first job opportunity that I gave her was to negotiate on behalf of Hawaii Electric Light Company a call purchase contract with Cyanotech. You remember that, Mary Ellen? Yeah. And she did a good job, and she completed that. Unfortunately, the Cyanotech contract, because of Cyanotech, had to be terminated a few years ago. Okay. Well, after that, then I had her do a number of assignments in the administration area of the Power Purchase Division. So she tackled issues concerning the Kalaeloa PPA, and then she also tackled issues concerning the AES contract. And some of the issues that she resolved are still, the processes that she put in place are still in place today. Like, for example, as I recall, AES is being paid on the basis of availability. And so, we need to make sure that they are truly available when they say they're available. So Mary Ellen came up with a procedure that could identify when they are available. As I recall, it's something like, they have to be on EMS, and you have to be at a certain pressure, and there was one other criteria that escapes me right now. But anyway, Mary Ellen, for example, negotiated that on behalf of the company, and that process, I believe, is still in place today. Okay, so anyway, she did a very good job in the company, and she was noticed. And then pretty soon, the president of the company, Mike May at that time, came calling on her and offered her a job. Well, it was kind of difficult for me because, it's not an even match when you're only a supervisor. And, the person wanting Mary Ellen was the president and CEO of the company. So I reluctantly gave her up. I knew it was for the best. And then she went on to become Director of Strategic Initiatives, reporting to Mike May. And so, she left, and there was a very big hole to fill in my area. But after quite a while, I was able to replace her. So, that is kind of like the history of Mary Ellen returning to the company, and I had the great fortune of working together with her. and seeing her moving on to bigger and better things in the company. So on this occasion, on the eve of your retirement, I and the rest of the company want to wish you the best. Wish you and your family, your husband Bob, and I see some of your children here. Amy, I don't see Nalani over here. Nalani's not over here. I don't see Cameron over here. I don't see Trevor over here. But I see Noel over here.
They're here in spirit.
So we want to wish Marilyn the very best in her retirement. And at this time, I'd like to call on Sam Gilly, who will give a few comments.
Yeah, I get a chance to talk about some bad things about Mary Ellen now. Yeah, I don't have a problem saying goodbye to Mary Ellen because she always likes to leave. I met Mary Ellen in about 1989 when she was the president of the Engineers and Architects Association, Engineering Association at that time. And no sooner was she the president, she said, you know what, I'm going to go down to New Zealand. Well, so she left for New Zealand. So we said goodbye. And then she came back, and she was the president on the Hawaii Council of Engineering Societies. And then she said, you know what, I'm pregnant. Well, and I'm going to take some time off and leave. And then a little bit, or I don't know which order it was in, and then she says, you know what, I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to leave and go to law school. And then she, all these times, she always came back. And she's also in Toastmasters. She's been in Toastmasters twice. She was in Toastmasters and she left. And then she came back. So I hope she keeps this habit up, because we really want her to come back. But in talking about Mary Ellen, she always wanted to get things done. So every job I've seen her in, she has a goal and she always gets it accomplished. And I'll just say one other thing about Toastmasters, and that I've been in Toastmasters for quite a while. And it's interesting about Toastmasters and speeches that you do. You remember the good speeches, but you don't really remember quite what they talked about or what they said. Just remember it was a good speech. And that's somewhat true of Mary Ellen. She's done a number of speeches, but one speech I remember she was talking about her son. I don't think it was Trevor's name. And she was describing her reluctance and her inability to stop her son from playing football. And you don't appreciate that when you're a teenager and your parents are, you really want to do that, and you have the reluctance of having to let them do it and put themselves in harm's way, so to speak, and you just have to say, okay, you can't say no, even though you'd say, no, you're not going to do that. But the other thing about in Toastmasters is that in speeches you get an evaluation, and so we improve our speaking ability. And Mary Ellen, I have to say, I would almost say she's probably our best evaluator. She listens to the speeches, and she hears the nuances of the speeches, and she always gives really excellent evaluation. Positive on what you have spoken about, and good pointers on how to improve your speeches. So she isn't leaving Toastmasters, and she hasn't told me she is. But her membership goes up until June or July. So we're going to have to press her to actually pay. So we'll find out in June whether or not she's going to stay in Toastmasters. Best of luck, Mary Ellen. You're going on to a new role. And so best luck for you and your family. You're next on the list here, Coswood.
Thank you. That's great.
Thanks, Sam. That's a true Toastmaster. You wait for the next speaker and they shake his hand.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm very delighted to be here. I see a lot of familiar faces. It's kind of strange to be here because almost exactly to the day, 6 years ago, I was up here saying my farewell when I retired. So it's kind of interesting that it's like, you know, like Yogi Berra used to say, like, it's deja vu all over again. But anyway, I go back a long way with Mary Ellen. I probably knew her or know her for 30 years now. She came to us originally in the 80s when we were called the Rates and Regulatory Affairs Department. And we worked on really esoteric things like customer load profiles and cost of service, things like that. All in support of designing better electric rates. And then Mary Ellen stayed at Hawaiian Electric, and then she went on to law school, and then we kind of split. I went up to HEI to play for a little while. And then when I came back down, lo and behold, I started working with Mary Ellen again in the same area. We worked for a senior VP back then called Carl Stalkoff. And we were doing really cutting edge things. We're doing non-utility type projects, doing AMR, broadband services by the utility, trying to partner with non-utility entities to do renewable energy projects. I remember one time we got to go up in a helicopter to the North Shore looking for pump storage hydro sites. And that was very unique, very interesting. Yeah, we traveled to the mainland quite a bit, you know, meeting with partners, going to conferences. And the one city that really stuck out in my mind was Cincinnati. You remember that one? I don't know if you all know about this bug called cicadas, but they're really creepy looking bugs that come out every 17 years from the ground. And they have buggy red eyes, and they have this really weird sound, and they're all over the place. And you know, I think we're on our way to the meeting place or a ball game. And we're stepping on these things. They're just incredible. But all through these years, what I recall is that I really enjoyed working with Mary Ellen because she is so professional. She's so efficient, so organized. She's selfless and a team player. And I really, really enjoyed working with you, Mary Ellen. If there's one word that might describe you a lot, it's, I forgot the word now. It's resilient. I mean, she gave birth to and raised 5 wonderful children, all the while working full-time or going to school full-time, and that's amazing. I remember, I think it was her first daughter or second daughter back in the 80s when we were down, our department was downstairs in the basement. And was it Nalani or Amy that you were pregnant with at the time? Cameron? Holy moly. I thought it was America. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure that was one where you gave birth, not in the basement. And she came back to work within the next week or two. And that to me was very amazing because I think the norm back then was for women to be out at home for a month or 2 or 3, and here she was, Mary Ellen, coming back within a week or 2, and that really, really impressed me. And I know during law school, you know, you got pregnant again. And And you gave birth while going to school full time. That really impressed me too. Some things you may not know about Mary Ellen. Well, you've heard some of that. She does a lot of outside, community service things. She's on the board of several nonprofit entities. She jogs almost daily. She's done the rough water swim in Waikiki, which is incredible. I don't think I could last. She's sung in some notable choirs, and she does the hula. So Mary Ellen has a lot of other talents besides making babies. But I was thinking of something funny to say about Mary Ellen, but I really couldn't find anything funny about Mary Ellen. And I say that in a good way, Mary Ellen, because you're squeaky clean. You're the sweetest, kindest, most giving person that I know and I've worked with. And so there's nothing really roastable with Mary Ellen, in my opinion. But it's been a pleasure working with you, Mary Ellen, all these years. I treasure the time that we had. I treasure our friendship, and I hope it continues. I'm sure husband Bob's going to be very happy and lucky to have you at home full time. I'm not sure how you feel about that. But also, I think it's Hiko's loss because they're losing a really good employee, and it's going to be hard shoes to fill. I did want to close by saying that, if you look at Mary Ellen, tall, blonde, fair woman, you'd think she just stepped off the plane from Nebraska or something. But she's really local at heart, born and raised here. And how much more local can you get than loving Spam musubis? So Mary Ellen, this is your retirement gift. Spam musubis for your break.
Amy and Noel.
All right, it'll actually just be me. So I'm Amy. I'm Mary Ellen's oldest daughter, and really so honored and thrilled to be here today and be surrounded by all of you, her wonderful work family that she's been so fond of for so many years. So my mom is one of the most extraordinary people I have ever met. She lives her life with a positive, go-get-em attitude, and she's often known for saying, "Give 'em." She is always creating and fulfilling opportunities where little to none existed all through her life. She truly lives life to the fullest. So in her honor, I'd like to name my brief remarks today, "How does she do it?" So brief outline, just give a little bit of background, both personal and professional, and then 3 examples from her professional career that I think help to illustrate what an incredible person she is. So, as Kazu mentioned, our family has been here for a long time. So my mom's grandfather came here in the 1930s to help start YMCA Camp Erdman on the North Shore. My grandma grew up on our same street where we grew up now. So we've been here for a long time. My mom was born in California, but then moved here when she was 6 years old and has spent most of her life here in Hawaii. She's married to Bob, my father, as we mentioned, and has 5 children. It's myself, Amy, then Nalani, Cameron, Trevor, and Noel, who's here today. Now she has 5 significant others, all the children, so 10 kids, and a wonderful extended family that's here today and with all of you. So she graduated from Punahou, went to Stanford for her undergrad. During that time, played in the Stanford Band. If any of you know the Stanford Band, it's a pretty crazy group, so that we were impressed when we learned that as we were growing up. She also spent time in France, studied abroad there, really showed her love of adventure and travel and speaking French. She graduated with degrees in civil engineering and French, and then went on to work at Kaiser Engineers in Oakland, California, and also study abroad at the London School of Economics for her master's, before coming back here and eventually working for Hawaiian Electric Company, as we've heard. She then decided to go back to law school, always fulfilling new dreams, and then back again to Hawaiian Electric, as Nanjing mentioned, to fulfill it today with her graduation from HECO and on to other exciting steps in her life. So just to give 3 brief examples from her professional career that I think demonstrate examples of how amazing my mom is. So one is law school. As we heard, my mom went to law school, I think when Noelle was about 11 days old or 2 weeks old or something like that. So I don't know, I've never had children, but for those of you who have had children, I doubt that's normally the first thing on your mind when you have a 2-week-old is that you want to go to law school. But she was extraordinary. We heard these stories of, she would be at the ER with Noelle, who had some sort of illness, till late at night, and then she'd have to come home and finish a paper all night before turning it in the next day. I would stay up with her late at night, helping her with flashcards and studying, but she always made us feel like we were always such a priority. We always knew that our mom was right there for us, and she was just incredible how she was able to blend her professional and personal life. She even passed the Hawaii State Bar exam on her first try before coming back to Hawaiian Electric. So just her whole adventure through law school is really an example of her showing her drive and determination, her just ability to achieve so many wonderful things while doing it in such a graceful and wonderful way. Next is project management. So as we heard, my mom did a lot with project management over her time at HECO. So many different projects she was managing here at HECO. But I would say that managing 5 children with limited resources through Punahou, Stanford, University of Toronto, graduate school, and how she did it was unbelievable. I still to this day have no idea how she has done all these things. And throughout it all, instilling in us the values of hard work, kindness, gentleness, respect, thoughtfulness, always working for the good of those beyond oneself and really contributing to society as a whole. She was always our inspiration in that. Another example of her project management is our travel schedule. Our family loves to travel. And I remember one time we went on a trip, multiple children coming from all sorts of different cities via different methods of transportation. And I remember she had this big spreadsheet trying to figure out how everyone was going to get to the same place at the same time. Truly a feat. So beyond travel, she also is amazing project manager of the family animals. It was one of the siblings who brought home a bunch of snails from a school project. My mom then decided she would take on these snails and help to nurture them into a small snail farm that developed at our home. We also have some wonderful kitties that we have at home that my mom helps to manage as well. So her project management skills are very much used not only professionally, but personally too. And then this most recent geothermal energy project, which my mom has had so much pride in being part of from the beginning till near the end now. Just demonstrated her vision, her insight, her determination, her leadership, her analytical skills, things she brought in from law school, and all her added value. Her strength, grace, collaboration, and just being so positive through the whole experience. So, you are our inspiration, our light, our best friend. We're so proud of you, so thankful for all that you've done. And I know on behalf of all of us, we all wish we could be here today, but we're all here in spirit. Woo! Yeah, I just got married, so I'm all But we just love you so much. We're so proud of you. So thankful for you taking this next step. It's a hard one, but we will all be in it together. To help you get excited for this new stage of your journey, we have a gift with a number of different things that will be exciting for you in this next stage. And Noelle has it there. So we have a book about real estate. We have a book about adjusting to retirement. We have a membership to a new, to doing a fun run and getting back in her running shape. We also have a new laptop for you to start into some new projects and maybe writing that book you've always wanted to write. So we're so proud of you and excited for you, you. Love it.
So normally this would be a great time for Mary Ellen to have some concluding remarks, but not yet. I mean, I had to step up when Kazuo said he didn't have anything to roast you on. I don't want to ruin the spirit that Amy stepped forth, so. But just a very short words. I first got to know Mary Ellen back when we were, really got to know Mary Ellen when we were all working for Carl Stahlhoff. And wow, those are some interesting times. Okay, but since I'm an executive, I have the privilege of being able to shed, peel back the curtain a bit on some of the executive goings-on. I was manager of CID at that time, Mary Ellen and Kazuo and Art Seki and Dave Waller. Yeah, so we were all reporting to Carl. And I still remember as a team, Mary Ellen, Kazuo used the word resilient. You certainly were resilient because I swear, every time that Carl would get an idea of, oh, we need somebody to pull together some information, all of us would go like this. And Mary Ellen would be like that. I mean, a little bit too slow to... Mary Ellen, why don't you compile that? And all of us would go, good idea. It was a truth. All the way to, I mean, remember when Carl, we were so diligent in tracking our progress on helping him meet his compensation bonus? I mean, we would dedicate time at his staff meetings to saying how he's... So anyway, that's enough of giving away those secrets. It was with great pride that I eventually actually, did get to work with you, not us under Carl, but, together. And, when you took over the geothermal RFP, I mean, that's where I really saw the spark shine, right? Because I think up until that point, you had been doing so many different things, and now here was a chance for you to actually take something and own it and help lead it, and you did a terrific job. So, really, really happy that happened. If there was one thing I was not successful working with you, it was in trying to get you to come off of your office on the 10th floor, or at least clean it up. Okay, next week. Right. So, unfortunately, it takes you retiring to actually get to the office. But really, I'd say on behalf of all of your family here at Hawaiian Electric, we really wish you the best. It's been a terrific ride. So happy that you've been able to spend almost 30 years with us, and now you get to focus on the family and Bob, so we wish you all the best. Thank you. And our final speaker is Mary Ellen. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one presentation of some parting gifts. This is unrehearsed. Shelley was supposed to do this. So, as it's been told to me, we have some parting Hiko logo items, both old logo and new logo. I guess they had to clear out the education. On the next speaker.
I have to say I'm almost speechless myself. I was wondering, do I know who they're talking about? Well, first of all, it has been a wonderful time here at Hawaiian Electric, and I had most of my talk that I was going to mention has already been mentioned. In terms of the amazing, I want to say, broad opportunities that I've been given throughout my 20 years here at Hawaiian Electric. I was thinking back on how I was so naive, even the day that Rick McQueen called me in to the office when I was in the project management area and asked me to be project manager for YLCIP 138 kV transmission line project, part 1 and part 2. I didn't even really know much about 138 kV. And it was a case of saying yes, and let's figure out how to do it, and from a project management angle. But in a similar way, I was thinking, and many of these have been touched upon here, of words like, Dan, IPP, I don't think I knew whether, PPA, BPL, all in our area. But my point is that what a wonderful career I have had to be in many different places, of course, physically, as Dan mentioned as well. So I've been here in this building we talked about, I've been at Ward Avenue, Waterhouse, Waiau, even Honolulu Power Plant for a while, not Kahe, but mostly in terms of how wonderful that I was given the opportunity to get things done, to take on something, to take whatever skills I had and to apply them to something. And I do agree with such wonderful comments. I thank all of you, and I thank you for being here. But I do remember that, Scott. I mean, the idea I could get something that's my husband calls get your teeth into. And I think the geothermal RFP project certainly was that, to the point where I actually did say I was going to retire, then I reneged. And when I did come back in that time, we were able to complete the pre-bid conferences, and I was able to be there with Kevin Poe, who's taken over the project, and actually help get those best and final offers in. So I feel happy about that. So all in all, I just wanted to make the point of how many various opportunities that I was given, and I feel that many of them were accomplished and some were not. I'm not sure if Steve Nagata is still here, but he had a joke with me that projects that I was on wouldn't really get completed. But we have some, and it wasn't my fault, there were different things like that. Like the Kahuku Wind Farm, for example, and then I think the Army decided not to go ahead. But to take in some of the projects, as were mentioned, Renewable Hawaii, to me were precursors of what would happen later. So we were able to build a foundation. I think what I did want to add is what might be some of the key factors of success. And many are touched upon, but I want to just focus on the word teamwork, because that's one of the reasons I came back from the law firm, is I missed Hawaiian Electric. And that was one of the things, is meetings, not too many meetings, but the teamwork. And that's one way that I've tried to approach it. And as you all know, like for geothermal RFP, we've had many of the same members, many of you here, that were on the team, and we try to approach it with a certain consistency, a meeting at the same time each week, a sort of similar agenda, and keep pushing through and keep our eye on the target, and then try to move through until we get things done. Say many of you, I'm looking at Barb there. And Kevin. So anyway, thank you. And I want to, of course, we've touched upon the family and how it was able to be done. I want to give credit to my husband as well. He was definitely Mr. Mom through many of those years, and you can imagine going to law school and so forth. And this is my time to give back to him, I think. So that's what we feel as a family. All right, so I want to thank those of you who made this happen. I know how much work it is. Candace, Monica, Lynn, Dana, I know did a lot of it. I miss working with you recently, Scott. So with that, I want to thank you for coming, and thank you for the amazing words that I almost can't believe. And I'm going to miss you all, but I'll try not to miss you so much that I try to come back soon. Gotta stick to the next job.